Okay, it's recorded started. You can begin.
Okay. Good afternoon to Mr. Bisu. Good afternoon to class. My name is CRN, and myself and my colleague Anderson Williams, we are going to be presenting today on the final chapter, chapter 15, Lead and Change in the Daft text. I'd like to thank you all in advance. I'd like to thank all the previous groups that presented weeks before. You all did a very wonderful job in this exercise. We've been here the last. We are performing to the best of our ability, and congratulations to all of us. Next up, Lead and Change. This chapter explores how leaders facilitate creativity, innovation, and change. The objectives: define change, state some key characteristics of leaders who can accomplish successful change. Explain the 8-stage model of planned change. Describe strategies a leader can use in the change process. Compare the elements of innovative organizations to the characteristics of creative individuals. Describe ways a leader may use to increase an employee's creativity. Define change. List reasons why employees resist change. Identify techniques used to implement the change process. Relate to the impact of leadership with downsizing and identify the techniques used to smooth the downsizing process. What is change? As you can see on the slide, we have two different sets of light bulbs. On the left, we have the incandescent bell-shaped light bulb that we all use today and is familiar with using throughout the years. And on the right, we have the new and improved fluorescent energy saver bulb. How many marketing campaigns does it take to get people to change a light bulb? The question was asked. The answer remains to be discovered. Companies produce new products and services every day, and many have been huge successes. Yet, the story of compact fluorescent light bulbs illustrate that getting people to change long entrenched habits, whether it be changing their style of light bulb or changing the way they work together in an organization, is not easy. And we all know that. The hard fact is that most people don't like change. No matter who lead, don't like change. Next slide. Change requires creating a new system, which in turn always demands leadership. This is a quote by John Cutter. He's a professor at the Howard University and he specialized in leadership. Change or perish. Internal organizational changes must keep pace with what is happening in the external environment. If an organization cannot change its internal pace to keep up with the external pace, they will eventually perish. What a challenge that is today. Social, economic, and technological change means that organizations have to be perpetually changing and adapting to keep pace. There are some characteristics that leaders can adopt to prevent this. Next slide. These characteristics are They define themselves as change leaders rather than people who want to maintain the status quo. They demonstrate courage. They believe in employees' capacity to assume responsibilities. They are able to assimilate and articulate values that promote adaptability. They recognize and learn from their own mistakes. They are capable of managing complexity, uncertainty, and ambiguity. They have vision and they can describe their vision for the future in vivid terms. When leading a major change project, it is important for leaders to recognize that change process goes through stages. Each stage is important, and each may require a significant amount of time. Leaders are responsible for guiding employees and the organization through the change process. Leading change take 8 stages, which leaders have to take the responsibility of guiding employees and the organization through. These 8 stages are as follows. Stage 1. Leaders establish a sense of urgency that change is really needed. Stage 2 involves establishing a coalition with enough power to guide the change process and then developing a sense of teamwork among the group. Stage 3 requires developing a vision and strategy. Stage 4. Leaders use every means possible to widely communicate the vision and strategy. Stage 5 involves empowering employees throughout the organization to act on the vision. This means getting rid of obstacles to change, which may require revising systems, structures, or procedures that hinder or undermine the change in effect. Stage 6. Leaders generate short-term wins. Leaders plan for visible performance improvements, enable them to happen, and celebrate employees who were involved in the improvements. Stage 7. Keeps up the urgency, building on credibility and momentum achieved by short-term wins to tackle bigger problems. Stage 8 is where leaders make the changes stick. Leading everyday change. Good leaders work daily to gradually shift attitudes, assumptions, and behaviors towards a desired future. When individuals, leaders throughout the organization are involved in daily change efforts, they have a powerful cumulative effect. And it could see as a slideshow, a picture here with the leader in front. He's leading by example. He's gradually shifting his attitudes, his assumptions, his behaviors, and his employees is following the suit. Next slide. Leaders can learn strategies for everyday change that will have significant constructive impact as everyday conversions and small actions spread to others throughout the organization. These strategies are as follows. Leaders can learn strategies for everyday change that will have significant constructive impact as everyday conversations and small actions spread to others throughout the organization. Change slide. Creative self-expression. This is the least way to promote change and involves a single leader acting in a way that others will notice and that reflects the values or behaviors he or she wishes to instill in his followers. And if you see, this is a picture of Albert Einstein, and he quotes, "It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge." Change slide. Right words. With this strategy, a leader turns an opponent's negative attitudes, comments, or behaviors into opportunities for change that others will notice. With the right words, you can change the world. In study. Right opportunities. A more public approach is for leaders to look for, create, and capitalize on opportunities for motivating others to change. Don't wait for the right opportunity, create it. And you can see there's a picture of the great Maya Angelou. She was a great poet and a civil rights activist in America. And she quotes, "If you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be." Alliance building. With strategic alliance building, the leader works closely with others to move issues to the forefront more quickly and directly than would be possible working alone. You can't live a possible life with a negative mind. Inside. Creativity and innovation. Leading innovation. What must one do to survive in the 21st century? This is a question was asked by the American Management Association amongst 500 CEOs. And the top answer was to practice creativity and innovation. And you can see in the slide here, seeing two gentlemen, what seems to be happening is like they're sheltering rain, rain is falling. They are using umbrellas. One is using the umbrella the normal old-fashioned way, and the other guy to the right is using the umbrella upside down. And what seems that he's still being sheltered from the rain, and yet he's catching water. So he's filling a cup. So I don't know if he's probably thirsty, if he's catching water to use in the future. But he's being innovative and creative. So using the umbrella for both purposes here. Next slide. Creativity is a generation of ideas that are both novel and useful for improving efficiency and or effectiveness or an organization. Creative people come up with ideas that may meet perceived needs, solve problems, or respond to opportunities, and are therefore adopted by the organization. One of the most important tasks of leaders today is to harness the creative energy of all employees to spur innovation and future the interests of the organization. Leaders can build an environment that encourages creativity and helps the organization be more innovative. So what we are seeing here is a group of people, employees, socializing, which seems to be in a good environment. They're having a cup of coffee. And some people find that this is kind of impossible. Nothing is impossible. Next slide. Characteristics of innovative organizations and creative people. The innovative organization, alignment and commitment, creative values, unofficial activity, diverse stimuli, open-mindedness, within company communication. The creative individual, commitment, focus approach, interdependency, persistence, self-confidence, non-conformity, curiosity, open-mindedness, conceptual fluence, enjoys variety. Social competence, emotionally express love people. Creative people do not see things for what they are, they see them for what they can be. Next slide. Leaders of today's organizations have powerful reasons to encourage creativity. Many organizations are undergoing fundamental transformation to respond to new challenges. The need for employees to contribute new ideas. In addition, people can be more creative when they are helped to be open-minded, curious, and willing to take risks. Next slide. Leaders can increase individual activity by facilitating the following: brainstorming, lateral thinking, creative intuition. Brainstorming. Brainstorming is a group of creativity technique by which efforts are made to find a conclusion for a specific problem by gathering a list of ideas spontaneously contributed by its members. And what we can see here is a good example of brainstorming. A group of people coming together with ideas to basically solve problems. The keys to effective brainstorming are no criticism. Group members should not criticize or evaluate ideas in any way. During the spontaneous generation of ideas, all ideas are considered valuable. So as we come to a group and we bring ideas to the forefront, do not criticize, all ideas is valuable. Freewheeling. Any ideas that comes to mind, no matter how weird or fanciful, brainstormers should not be timid about expressing creative thinking. Quantity desired. Generate many ideas as possible. More ideas, the better, in which the likelihood of finding excellent solution. So the more ideas come front, is the better for the solution. Lateral thinking. A set of systematic techniques for changing concepts and generating new ones. So as we can see in the slide here, the guy is looking at what we seems to be a maze. And the maze have a start, I enter, and it have an exit. But he's using what seems to be his lateral thinking to actually go around and not go through the maze at all. No one didn't say you have to go through the maze and come out the exit. So he's using his lateral thinking, as they say, the shortest point, a straight line. Next slide. To stimulate lateral thinking, the leader can provide people with opportunities to use different parts of their brain and thus to make novel, creative connections. We organize frequently to mix people into different jobs and responsibilities, or hire people with diverse experiences. Frequent change can be traumatic, but it keeps people's minds fresh and innovative. Personal approaches can be used, such as changing your sleeping hours, taking a different route to work, listening to different radio stations, or trying new recipes. And I would like to ask the class a question on lateral thinking. Could anyone name an ancient invention still in use in most parts of the world today that allows people to see through walls? Anyone?
window.
Hello? Repeat.
Said a window.
That's very correct. It's a window. And there we have the window. And we all use that up to today to see through walls. It's a nice work there using the lateral thinking. Leading creative people. A simple tool to support concept generation. Alex Osborne checklist is a comprehensive list of questions about ideas and problems which can be used either individually or in groups. Aims to encourage creativity and divergence in concept generation. So this is Alex Osborne lateral thinking checklist. On one side you have the verbs, on the other side you have the descriptions, other uses, new ways to use as is, other use if modified. To adapt. What else is like this? What other idea does this suggest? What could I copy? Whom could I emulate? Modify. New twist, change meaning, color, motion, flavor, shape, or form. Magnify. What to add? More time, greater frequency, stronger, higher, thicker, heavier, extra value, or to multiply. Minify. What to subtract? Smaller, condense, miniature, lower, shorter, split up, understate, omit, less frequent. Substitute. Who else is interested instead? What else instead? Other ingredients, other material, other process, other place, other approach. To rearrange. Interchange components, other patterns, other sequence, other layout, change place, change schedule. Reverse. Transpose positive and negative, turning backwards, upside out, inside out, reverse roles, opposites. Combine. The blend, assortment, bundle, combine units. Creative intuition. What time and experience we all gain a greater feel or gut instinct on what the best course of action will be when faced with unexpected opportunities or challenges. The first stage is data gathering. The mind is gathering data constantly, especially when you are studying background material on a problem to be solved. And Albert Einstein quotes, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is faithful servant." We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. The creative flash of insight leaders want to awaken is actually the second stage of creativity. Creative intuition. The subconscious mind remembers all experiences that the conscious mind has forgotten. Intuition has a broader reach than any analytical process focused solely on the problem at hand. Individuals should also use their intuition to encourage creativity. The mind is gathering data constantly, especially when you are studying background material on a problem to be solved. Then the creative insight bubbles up as an intuition from the deeper subconscious. Creativity often occurs during a mental pause, a period of mixed tensions and relaxations. In the shower, or while exercising, driving, walking, or meditating, the mind reverts to a neutral, somewhat unfocused state in which it is receptive to issues or themes that have not been resolved. A temporary activity that is relatively simple and mindless can provide the moment for a creative flash from deep in the subconscious. If the analytical part of the mind is too focused on the active, it shuts down the spontaneous part. Thus, the semi-relaxed mental pause is like putting the analytical left brain on hold and giving room for the intuitive right brain to find the solution in the subconscious mind. And this slide shows examples of that. The whole brain. We have the left side and the right side. The left side shows the analytical, logical, realistic, objective, systematic, sequential thinking part. And where we use our right brain, the right part of our brain, to use our intuitive, creative, global, random, spontaneous, and be imaginative. To understand your own creative intuition, consider the problems below. Each set of 3 words has something in common. So class. Each set of these 3 words have something in common. Could anyone tell me? The first set, April, locker room, right to be, all those 3 words have something in common. So let's use our creative intuition thinking to come up with this. Any volunteers? Let's do a rush. Is anyone there?
The first one, shower, the word shower could be
Shower?
shower, yeah.
Yes, that is actually correct. So as you can see on the slide, April showers, also May showers as well, because we get rain today, rain May. Locker room showers, as you all know, locker room have showers. And bride to be, we have bridal showers. The next one is curtain, fisherman, nuclear reactor. What all those 3 have in common?
Rod.
Rod?
ROD?
Yes. Yes, that is correct. So as you can see on the slide, curtain have rods. We all know curtain rods. The fisherman using his fishing rod to catch a big fish. And nuclear reactor rods. And the last question, bowling alley, Taylor, wrestling match.
Pins.
Yep, that is correct. Bowling alley pins. Taylor have to use pins and also wrestling pin. Next one. And now, presenting now my colleague, Mr. Anderson Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Romain. You all hear me? Hello?
Yep, we are here.
Thank you.
Loud and clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Romain. Good job.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bisoon. Good afternoon, class. My name is Anderson Williams. I'll be presenting on implementing change. Now, I got this quote here from one of my favorite action movie karate stars. That's when we used to real go movies and see real kung fu. Drunken Master, Shaolin Temple, Enter the Dragon. This is one of Bruce Lee's famous quotes. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Bruce Lee's Be Water, my friend simply means to be flexible in both mind and body. It's about not being rigid and stubborn, about your beliefs, practices, understandings, and instead about being open-minded and able to change and adapt to circumstances we are put into. To flow like water is to be flexible, nimble, and agile in approaching circumstances and possibilities that arise each and every day of our lives. Implementing change. Okay. Implementing change. Leaders frequently see innovative change, and creativity as a way to strengthen the organization. But many people view change only as painful and disruptive. Change in an organization leads to many positive aspects that lead to retaining a competitive edge and also remaining relevant in your business area. Change encourages innovation. It develops skills, develops staff, and leads to better business opportunities and improved staff morale. Change. What is change? Change is a general transition of something or phase to another state, condition, or a never-ending process of readjusting and readaptation as a man responds behaviorally to ever-changing circumstances. We see a picture here of the new way and the old way. You see they're going in two different directions, where the old way is totally going backwards and the new way is forward. Many people view change only as painful and disruptive. Resistance to change is natural, sometimes often legitimate response for it. Here in the pic, we see a man, caveman, building a wheel, and you see protesters, people protesting. Probably they're protesting that his innovation, probably they are complaining, but probably they are saying things like climate change. So they're for their own reason, they're seeing innovation and fear. People fear change because they lose control over their role. The larger the change, the more they are going to feel like the change is being done to them. No one likes to feel powerless. Implementing change. One main reason why employees resist change is that personal compact, which is the reciprocal obligation and commitments that define the relationship between employees and organization. The personal compact incorporates elements such as mutual trust and dependence, as well as shared values. Resistance to change if employees perceive that change violates the personal compact. The personal compact incorporates elements such as mutual trust and dependence, as well as shared values. When employees perceive that change violates the personal compact, they are likely to resist. In the pic here, you see that employees going at the gift, they're more or less dismantling it. Mistrust and lack of confidence are one of the issues that could implement change. Also, the fear of failure, poor communication, and unrealistic timelines. Now, this is an example from the text. For example, a new general manager at a Dallas-Fort Worth Marriott wanted to change the incentive system to offer bonuses tied to the hotel's financial performance, but employees blanked. They were thinking, here comes the wicked witch of the West, taking away our stuff away. But the manager said, there are many tools available to help implement innovation and change. Techniques used to implement the change process. Communication and training. Open and honest face-to-face communication. Employees must not know about a change from outside. It is hard for to be working in a place where things are happening and you're hearing it from the media, from third parties. Supervisors and managers should be able to inform their stakeholders, especially their employees, about the changes that are taking place. Employees frequently need training to acquire skills for their new role in the change process or their new responsibilities. Participation and involvement. Followers involved in help to design the change. Followers involved in help to design the change. It gives people a sense of control over the change activity. They understand the change better and become committed towards it. If you know that you are part of it, if you know that you're a stakeholder, probably you could buy into it. Cohesion. Used as a last resort, leaders may overcome resistance by threatening employees with the loss of their jobs or promotion, or by firing or transferring them. Cohesion should be the last resort. Techniques clearly define change as one of its business goals. As one of the techniques you could use to clearly define what is your change and determine the impact of all those who will be affected by your change. Develop a strong sense of communication. Here we have also another character for one of my TV series, Batman. Here we have Tommy Lee Jones playing the part of Two-Face. Change, this symbolizes change. Change wears two faces, the face of danger and the face of opportunity. The danger face is usually seen first. You may have to look hard to find the opportunity face. There's a Chinese saying, the Chinese word for crisis is similar to the face of change. The Chinese ideogram for crisis is composed of two separate characters. One means danger and the other means opportunity. The proper translation is, crisis is a dangerous opportunity. Often the danger of a crisis is readily seen while the opportunity can be well hidden. So sometimes all you can see is danger, but behind the danger, there's opportunity. Frequently, crisis and change are seen as the same when confronted. but either it is important to recognize both the danger and the opportunity. It says fame is for the bold. Always look for the positive. The two phases of change. Effectively and humanely, leading change is one of the greatest challenges for leaders. The nature and pace of change in today's environment can be exhilarating and even fun, but it can also be inconvenient, painful, and downright scary. Even when a change appears to be good for the individual employees as well as the organization, it can lead to decreased morale, low commitment, and diminished trust if not handled carefully. Most difficult changes are those related to structure, such as redefining positions and responsibilities, re-engineering the company, redesigning jobs, departments, or downsizing the organization. Downsizing is one of the most difficult situations leaders face. They may have to handle the layoffs in a way that ease the pain and tension for departing employees and maintain the trust, morale, and performance of employees who remain with the organization. Here we have a chain store that you all will be familiar with, Excellent Stores. So I'm using this as an example to bring what we have learned in this chapter and what we all have learned to life. You might see some of your own chapters coming to life in this article from the CEO of Excellent Stores. This is an article he gave out. I'm just summarizing what he said to the media. Excellent Stores. The CEO is Mr. Alex Suchong, CEO of Excellent Stores. The closure of the East branches, Mr. Chung said, was part of a bigger move by Excellent Stores to enhance its service by improving its online performance and enhance the performance of its stores in Movitown, Mukurapo, Price Plaza, Shoguanas, and the C3 Center, San Fernando. Its downtown Port of Spain branch at the Excellent City closed last December. Mr. Chung said, looking at the bigger picture, the company is no longer able to support services in its 6 branches, given the current economic state brought on by the COVID-19 and worsened by the foreign exchange woes. He said the closure would give the retailer the chance to pivot and improve the services at the remaining branches, while bringing an online shopping experience to customers. The best thing to do is to look around at what is happening in the economy and see what is in demand and try to balance the two. The company had to upgrade the systems for proper tracking and delivery of its websites. Now you're wondering about staff. With this downsizing at 3 of its branches, Port of Spain, Chin City Mall, and Rima being closed, he was asked about staff. Staff relocation was his response. Staff members are also expected to be retrained and be repurposed to enhance the productivity of the online store and physical locations. Right now, our warehouses is overwhelmed in terms of getting products to our branches. And we can't move as fast to replenish as fast as our inventory can handle. He said right now they need staff drivers, delivery drivers. So that is something in demand right now, delivery drivers to carry all their stuff to the different locations. The plans for repurposing the assets were not limited to human resources, Chung said. The Port of Spain branch was which was located, will be part of a larger project. We're seeing the vision. Last presentation was about vision. The plan for repurposing the assets were not limited to human resources. Mr. Chung said the Port of Spain branch would be part of a larger project, the revitalization of Excellent City Center. He said, although fewer people are going out to shop because of COVID-19, their experience could be enhanced by digital means like free Wi-Fi and digital signboards. We are hoping to even be able to put up a digital signboard so that people could watch a movie or a cricket match. His vision is the plan to fall in line with government initiative to revitalize Port of Spain. He said, hopefully excellent stores contribution would create a chain reaction of productivity and boost economics in Port of Spain. Implementing change, leadership, and downsizing. Downsizing refers to reducing the size of a company's workforce. There is increased conflict and stress, greater resistance to change, decrease in morale, trust, and employee commitment. Techniques used to smooth the downsizing process. Advance notice, with employees given an advance notice that they will be downsized. Offer incentive packages. Offer alternative work arrangements where the company, instead of you working 6 days per week, probably can get 3 days or in shifts. Offer assistance to displaced workers, training programs, counseling services for employees and their families. Offer counseling to the remaining employees. So this is important because even though they're remaining, they're still employed. They too will feel a sense of anxiety, knowing that anytime the company is going through, or some of their friends have left, some of their co-workers. So it's important to get counseling, even to those who are there working presently. Now, class, we are going to show a short video that will encapsulate this topic. You might even see things on your own presentations, what you have done. Thank you. Hold a second.
Who Moved My Cheese is about dealing with change in your work and in your life. Cheese being a metaphor for what you want in life. Everyone has their own idea what cheese means to them, and we go after it because it makes us happy. The maze in the story represents where you look for your cheese, or happiness. Your cheese is always changing, and you should not get comfortable in relying on your cheese to always be how or where you left it. In doing so will help you deal with change and bring you greater success, no matter how you define success for yourself. The 4 characters in the story represent parts of us, and it's up to you to identify which parts you are now and which you would rather be from now on. There's 2 mice who don't overthink everything and just get on with life. Sniff constantly sniffs out the change and is ready for it. Scurry goes into action immediately without needing to know all the information. Then there's 2 little people, really smart people who've done well for themselves so far. Hem, he likes to stay in a safe, familiar territory. And Haw, who's slow to adapt to change but is open-minded. Sniff and Scurry go out and seek new cheese every day. Hem and Haw comfortably rely on their past knowledge and experience and assure themselves the cheese will be right where they left it. Hem and Haw even moved their house closer to their cheese and built a social life around it. They became so comfortable they didn't even notice what was happening. Sniff and Scurry noticed the cheese was diminishing and that one day it wasn't there. But they were not surprised. They were prepared and knew what to do. The situation had changed, so they decided to change. They sniffed and scurried in search of new cheese. Hem and Haw had not been paying attention to the changes. They took it for granted and were unprepared. How could this have happened, they thought? Nobody warned them. They wanted to believe somebody moved their cheese and didn't want to believe that they had failed to notice it getting smaller and smaller every day. Hem's complicated brain and deep belief system demanded to know why this had been done to him. While Hem and Haw were busy worrying about what happened to them, Sniff and Scurry were already out finding new cheese in uncharted territory, and it didn't take long before they found new cheese and started enjoying life again. Hem and Haw remained bitter and angry about not having their old cheese, complaining how life was unfair to them. They got used to being comfortable and were now afraid to go find new cheese. They got stuck in a habit of doing the same things over and over again and wondering why things didn't get better. Eventually, Haw realized the cheese was never coming back and may have to face his fears and go find new cheese. He finally stopped blaming others and took responsibility for himself. After all, it is safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation. As Haw enjoyed his newfound cheese, he reflected on past mistakes and realized nothing got better until he changed. He didn't like it at the time, but the change was a blessing in disguise. Hem was too stubborn, or proud, or just simply unwilling to change. Nobody knows what became of Hem. Move with the cheese.
Yes, class. Any questions on the video? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, no question, Will.
All right then. Right. This is a quote from Kelly A. Morgan from riseyourmind.com. Changes are inevitable and not always controllable. What can be controlled is how you manage, react to, and work through the change process. Thank you. First of all, before we end this presentation, I would like to say thanks to all the presenters before. I must say that this was one of the first times, this presentation was really a learning experience for me. That it reminded me of when I was going to school for relay. You're seeing everybody else passing on the baton, and watching how well everyone else did it. And I must say, you all did well. So thank you all. It was an inspiration. I also say thanks to Mr. Bisoon. Thanks for this opportunity to change. I also learned a lot, and also that even the way he changed up the groups itself, this new way he did it was really revitalizing. I also want to say thanks to Romain, that his spirit and everything worked well. Thanks you all. Be safe.
Thank you.
Yes.
Same to you as well.
All right. Any questions, anybody?
Not at this time on the subject. I have another question at the end of the session.
Okay. Let me turn off the recording and then you can ask that question, right? Hold on.